This is FE Peer Review. It is still September the 19th, 2021. Noah's Ark by the numbers. I will pause here for a moment, read it if you'd like, and now I will move on. My channel is not a religion debunking atheist channel. That's not the point of my channel, and this is not a video about religion. This is a video about a scam. A scam that's in progress, and I think it needs to be addressed. We have a video here called High-Tech Radar Finds Room on Noah's Ark! Question mark. You can help uncover more! Exclamation point. Well, I left them a comment, fairly lengthy comment, and that's the comment I'm going to be presenting here. I think it's a little something that's worth looking at. Let's do the math. There are 180 species of the duck family and seriforms, which includes geese and swans and other things. That means 360 animals minimum that need space and food, male and female of each. Small ducks eat about 6 ounces a day. Swans eat as much as 4 to 6 pounds a day. But we'll use a low figure of 1 pound a day on average for all of them. For a flood that lasted 40 days, that's about 14,400 pounds of food that has to be stored and kept from rotting. That's if we assume Noah took 2 of each type of duck. Genesis 6:19, and of every living thing of all flesh 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. But maybe he took 7 of each. Genesis 7:2 and 3. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7s, the male and his female. And of beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by 7s, the male and female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. Also, did the flood last 40 days? Genesis 7:17, or 150 days, Genesis 7:24. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased, and bare up the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Well, maybe the water rose for 40 and then took another 110 to disperse or something. But I think we better play it safe, I've got to assume 150 days because we don't want to find ourselves with 40 days of food and 110 days left to go. I don't think God would like that. So it's going to be 150 days. Leviticus 11:18 suggests that ducks are considered clean animals. But does it? This is how the King James Version translates the Hebrew. Leviticus 11:18. And the swan and the pelican and the gyre eagle, placing them among the group of unclean animals. While the New International Version translates it as 18, the white owl, the desert owl, and the osprey. So are these animals clean or unclean? The duck family. If they're swans and all and they're unclean, then it's 2 of each. But there's no mention here of swans in the other translation. And even 7 is questionable. The Genesis 7:2 and 3 phrase in King James Version, of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7s, the male and his female, seems to be a mistranslation of the Hebrew, which is literally 7:7. Does that mean 3 pairs and an extra animal, or 7 pairs? 7 pairs seems the most literal interpretation. If we take it direct from the Hebrew, we have in this column the Hebrew word by word, and in this column the English for that word. Of every animal, clean, you shall take with you 7, a male and his female. Sounds to me like 7 males and 7 females. I think we better play it safe here and assume that's what God wants. Otherwise, we end up not taking enough, and that's not good. And also, if they are clean, but we think they're unclean, and so we only take 2, that's a real big problem because we won't have enough. And if we don't have enough, we can't get any more. On the other hand, if we take 7 of each, male and female, because we think that maybe they're clean. And then it turns out afterwards that we find out that they're unclean. That's okay, because we can still slaughter 5 of each and we'll still have 2 left. So that's a mistake that can be fixed. So we better take 7 males and 7 females of each one. So is it actually 14 individuals of 180 species of ducks for 150 days? That would be 2,520 animals. At a pound of food per animal per day, it would amount to 378,000 pounds of food. They would have to be stored and kept fresh. Commercial duck feed is packaged at about 40 pounds of feed per cubic foot. So we'd need 9,450 cubic feet of storage, 16 by 12 by 50, for example, for Anseriform feed. Of course, that's modern commercial stuff, which is a highly concentrated nutritional source Noah wouldn't have had access to. So his storage requirements probably would have been considerably more. He would also need a survivable amount of space for 2,520 animals. How much space do they need to survive for 150 days? At least a few square feet for each. Assuming smaller cages for the ducks and larger cages for the swans, we might get on average 3 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. That might be a survivable amount of space. At that volume, we'd need 30,240 cubic feet of space, densely packed with no access to the cages. In order to keep them fed, there would need to be considerably more space required to reach all the cages. If the cages were stacked on either side of a 2-foot wide aisle, just barely wide enough to walk down for feeding, we would need 1/3 more space for a total volume of 40,320 cubic feet. I've sketched out diagrams here of how that might work. Here's a plan view in the middle with a 2-foot aisle going down and two foot sides of the cage facing the aisle in order to save walking space, reduce walking space. And that would allow access to cages on both sides. Perhaps there are 2 such aisles. And then cages might be stacked 6 high, which would mean we'd need some little walking platform or ladders or something in order to get to these upper cages. So, and also a note on units here. I am working in imperial units. I hope my metric thinking friends will forgive me. I had considered doing this entire thing in cubits originally, but that just seemed like making life even more complicated than it already is. So you're just going to have to bear with me while I use feet here. So for the Anseriforms, we might be able to get away with as little as 16 feet by 12 feet by 260 feet for cages and food storage. And that's just the ducks and their fellow Anseriforms. Shall we start in on the iguanas next? They can't survive temperatures below 80 degrees and need a spot for daily basking at temperatures of 95 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, of course. So it looks like we're going to need an electrical source on this ark in order to power our heat lamps. I wonder how we're going to manage that. So here we have discovered media. Join our 250 club. We need 250 people who can give $100 one time toward the scientific project this month. Yes, just one time you can be part of this exciting project. We'll never ask for money again. We're just asking for your $100 just this one time. 250 of you. Come on, folks. Do the math.